Hello, I'm Reed.
I'm Jennifer.
Welcome.
Welcome to another Faith at Home listening practice.
Right.
We're listening to Psalm 18, 1 to 6 today.
Yes. Shall I read to begin with?
If you would, that'd be great. As we listen to this first round of readings in the listening practice, we're listening for just a word or a phrase or an idea that jumps out to us from these words.
Mm-hmm. We'll be reading Psalm 18 from the Message, but just the first 6 verses. It's a fairly long psalm. So we're just going to do the first 6 verses today. Beginning. I love you, God. You make me strong. God is bedrock under my feet, the castle in which I live, my rescuing knight. My God, the high crag where I run for dear life, hiding behind the boulders, safe in the granite hideout. I sing to God, the praise lofty, and find myself safe and saved. The hangman's noose was tight at my throat. Devil waters rushed over me. Hell's ropes cinched me tight. Death traps barred every exit. A hostile world. I call to God. I cry to God to help me. From God's palace, God hears my call. My cry brings me right into God's presence, a private audience.
There's a moment's pause for listening and letting that sort of settle in. The image that comes to me today is that that castle at the beginning, the rescuing knight. I grew up with the fairy tales that many of us did. That sense of waiting for someday when some external situation would make all the things better. And it has been a gift to me to realize that God is present with me all the way through experiences. I don't have to wait for God to come from somewhere else to fix a circumstance, but that God is present with me in the circumstance, and that in the midst of that, I can listen for what the wise way forward is. I don't have to wait for some handsome knight to come charging in on a white stallion. I'm grateful that God is present with me every step of the way.
I think the thing that the praise lofty, I don't know, just God is worthy of praise. That was what stuck to my head, that popped in. That right now we're sitting and I can see out our front window and it's summer and all the green leaves and the beauty of the world, despite all the troubles we know is out there. But seeing all the world that God has created, it just, I don't know, just made me think that praise lofty just sort of got into my face and into my head. That God is worthy of it.
So maybe there was a word or a phrase or an idea that jumped out to you. You can make note of it either in the comments or in your own listening book, or pick up the phone and, don't phone anyone on your phone. Okay, you could actually use your phone for phoning, or you could text someone and share with them what you're noticing, thinking, feeling.
We'll read through it again. You can read through it this time. And we're going to be listening this time for an invitation from God. What is God asking of you, or drawing you towards, or expecting from you, perhaps?
Okay. I love you, God. You make me strong. God is bedrock under my feet, the castle in which I live, my rescuing knight. My God, the high crag where I run for dear life, hiding behind the boulders, safe in the granite hideout. I sing to God the praise lofty and find myself safe and saved. The hangman's noose was tight at my throat. Devil waters rushed over me. Hell's ropes cinched me tight. Death traps barred every exit. A hostile world, I call to God. I cry to God to help me. From God's palace, God hears my call. My cry brings me right into God's presence, a private audience. Is there an invitation that jumps out to you?
I think the fact that God is always present, I guess, it talks about running to God and God is listening. That to me is the invitation. That even in the midst of all the things that happen, and I'm sure we all get frustrated. I know I do. Just talk about myself. I get frustrated with things in life. Even just driving to the store or something, and people cut you off, or the traffic's terrible, or whatever, and you get frustrated easily. Or I get frustrated easily sometimes. And even in those moments, which seem trite and silly, or whatever, to come to God, a hostile world. I call to God, and God hears me. God is present, even in those moments of banality. Um, I don't know. I know this isn't about banality, but that was what came to my mind, that God is there all the time, in every moment, in the worst, but also in those irritating,
Mundane,
bland. I don't have to wait for the really bad stuff. Like, God isn't too busy. God is ready and waiting for everything.
The invitation that I hear comes both from the singing to God and finding myself safe and saved. And then a little later on, it's I call out to God and feel myself in God's presence. And so both that song calling, and for me, thank you, gratitude is a really big part of how I practice transitioning myself from feeling like God is distant and far away to being right in God's presence, a private audience. So it's not like God is far off ever, but I, with the thoughts of my mind and the habits of my life, often live as though God is far off. And so this practice of gratitude and of singing, of crying out, calling out to God, helps me to bridge the gap that's only in my mind, change my mindset.
Great. How did you think about that? What did you hear? Did you hear things? God is speaking.
So sometimes it's something that jumps out to us, but sometimes it's just something that is like a little niggle. And I think often as we begin the practice of listening, it's often a little flitter or flutter, like a butterfly. And the practice of sharing what we hear with someone else to hear their response helps us to grow stronger in feeling like, oh, yeah, that could be God's voice speaking to me, instead of just the mustard I ate last night at supper or something else. So we encourage you to write it down, share it, take the opportunity to explore what you might be hearing God speak to you.
Indeed. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.